Hello, my name is Giovanni Arredondo. We'll be talking about microtransactions and addiction. So we all know that microtransactions are in video games, and they make the game more enjoyable by purchasing cosmetics so that we don't have to look and be plain and simple. Instead, we could just spend maybe 25 to 20 bucks on like skins. Maybe you want a different skin for your character or different cosmetic objects that you want to have. Well, in recent video games, they have introduced battle passes and cosmetics that allow the player to spend money and buy these cosmetics. Now, the reason we'll be talking about this is because recently, throughout the years, microtransactions has become more of an addiction now. A lot of people would like to take the gamble and purchase more and more and more to see if they benefit from it. And so let's get this going. So the main problem with microtransactions is that they act like gambling. They're more gambling than transactions. Um, these could affect the young people of our generation who play video games, and even right now players that are suffering from this addiction. So if you want to know how it works, basically, players pay real money for mystery boxes or even yeah, mystery boxes in hopes to get a rare chance at an item. And sometimes these items you can sell it on third-party websites, and sometimes you just want the item just to show off. Um, so the feeling, this sort of gambling increases a sense of maybe I'll get it this time, maybe the next one, maybe the next one. I can't stop. Therefore, it causes the addiction to rise, and therefore it starts hurting the young players and gamers. Why is it harmful? You might be asking. Well, these small purchases end up being, even though they're small purchases like $5, the player can be like, oh, it's $5. What more can $5 do, right? So therefore, it'll cause more and more and more, and then you'll find out that in the past 5 minutes you spent $60. Um, so this is a risk for kids because kids can learn that they can spend money on video games, but they're more blind for its negative impact that can cause them and eventually make them gamble. There are some studies that shows that teens often spend money on loot boxes and they do not fully understand the risks. There are games where you can purchase a key. Uh, in CS:GO, there is a container and a key container. The container itself, you can get them. Sometimes it ranges from either 70 cents to maybe even $100, and the key itself is $2.50. It might not seem a lot, but that's how it begins. People tend to see these as easy transactions that they can make, and they'll realize that they could buy a bunch of these, and then eventually open more and more and more, and chances of getting a rarity. Um, Psychologists compare these types of tactics to those used by gambling companies. More like the jackpot machines are more related to these microtransactions. Um, and some people might just say, just don't buy them. Well, that's the reason why these games are built like this because they're so easy that it just catches them off guard and then it makes them hard to resist. So the solution to this statement is that we need to enforce rules on these game companies to be honest about the odds, set spending limits so that people won't be spending more than 100 bucks or even 20 bucks, and then check ages before selling loot boxes. So how does this work? So to show the odds, players can actually see the chances of the rare items that they can get. Um, Therefore, they know if it's even worth spending any money on it. Um, Setting limits to young players can help them learn how to spend their money wisely, so that they just don't keep on spending and spending. And then they could also label the game, probably put on some warnings, like you know how there are rated M for mature, rated R, rated X, and all that. We could probably put like rated a rating for gambling like features. Why does this help? With the clear odds and limits, players won't be able to waste their money blindly, so they can not obtain this addiction. So in real world, countries like Belgium treat loot boxes as gambling. So they're not people over there, even though they do obtain, like for example, sorry, um, people who play Counter Strike over there obtain these loot cases, but they're not able to open them because it relates to gambling. Therefore, Belgium has successfully put restrictions on them and therefore limit the cost of an addiction to rise. Um, so if we don't do anything about these microtransactions and addiction, then therefore everyone will just keep spending and spending and spending money, risking probably leading to debt, addiction, and maybe even distrust amongst others. Um, so what we gotta do is we gotta act like games can become more fair. We got to make sure players spend wisely, know what they're getting, and gain trust from their companies that they're playing their games and buying their games from. So, I've, so in conclusion, by working together and deleting this type of marketing tactic that the gaming industry has forcefully put out there, we can keep the games fun, safe, and focus on what matters, which is enjoying the game itself and not gambling our money away. So this was my speech about microtransactions and addiction, and I hope you guys can help